Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you guys had a good weekend. Last week, we started talking about the body. We started talking about different parts of the body and different organs in the body, both internal and external. This week, we are going to start focusing more on those internal organs and learning more about those internal organs. So today, we're going to talk about the heart. We know that the heart is an internal organ, and it's one of those 5 vital organs that we have in our body. So there are some different parts that the heart is made of, and we're going to talk about that today. So the first part we're going to talk about is the pulmonary artery. The pulmonary artery is a big artery that connects the heart and the lungs. It carries blood that does not have much oxygen in it. Once the blood gets to the lungs, the blood picks up oxygen and it drops off carbon dioxide. It then returns to the heart through the pulmonary vein. And if we remember, arteries take blood away from the heart and veins bring blood back to the heart. So it makes sense that it would return to the heart through the vein. One way that I remember in my brain that arteries take blood away from the heart and veins bring blood back to the heart is I think that artery and away, they both start with the letter A. So that's a trick that I use to remember in my brain that arteries take blood away from the heart and veins bring blood back to the heart. So the next part of the heart is the aorta. And the aorta is the main artery that carries blood from the heart to all parts of the body. The aorta is the largest artery in the body, and there are actually 3 parts of the aorta. They're called the ascending, the arch, and the descending. Now, before we go on to the next card, I want to share that the heart has 4 chambers. They're called chambers, and there are 2 on the left side and there are 2 on the right side. So we are going to talk about those 4 chambers now. The left ventricle is one of the 4 chambers of the heart. It pumps blood full of oxygen out to the body. The right ventricle is one of the 4 chambers of the heart. It receives blood without oxygen in it and pumps it into the lungs so it can become oxygenated, or so that it can get oxygen back in the blood. So the left ventricle pumps oxygenated blood out to the whole body, and the right ventricle pumps blood only to the lungs. The left atrium is one of the 4 chambers in the heart. It receives blood full of oxygen from the lungs and empties the blood into the left ventricle. The left atrium, it acts kind of like a holding area or a holding chamber for the blood that came back from the lungs, and it acts as a pump to get blood to other areas in the heart. The right atrium is one of the 4 chambers of the heart. It receives blood with little oxygen in it and empties the blood into the right ventricle. So the right atrium gets deoxygenated blood. That's blood that doesn't have oxygen in it. And it gets this deoxygenated blood from the body and sends it to the right ventricle so it can be sent to the lungs to get oxygen, because we know that the right ventricle sends blood to the lungs. So those are the parts of the heart that we are going to learn about today. I challenge you guys to do these cards and to also label the diagram of a heart that I sent. See if you can remember where those all of those parts of the heart are and label them. And then you could color it if you want when you're done. All right, so we will do some more with internal organs tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. Bye.